Hello and welcome to the technical updates for the last month of October. Obviously, we do them the following month. Some of these will be reminders, other ones will be new stuff that we go through. Please put any questions you may have in the chat, or we'll chat at the end of it, see if you've got any comments. So the first one is a reminder from last month, and this is to do with the Jamboard. Both the Jamboard hardware and the app are basically going to the Google Graveyard. This is going to start beginning of September 2024, but will finish completely December 2024. What Google have decided that they're going to do in the place of Jamboards is that there is going to be, for schools and colleges that have the physical Jamboard, they are going to put in place some support going forward for that hardware. But they are now integrating the app with third-party apps for Meets. And they are also going to be collaborating with third-party hardware providers to provide an alternative for the Jamboard that you can use. So another hardware touchboard screen that Google will make sure the Jamboard integration with Meet and stuff still works on it. So that's just a reminder, just something, a date for your diary more than anything else. This next one is to do with Android devices. So specifically, these are if you've got managed devices. So now you can configure Android Zero Touch devices directly from the admin console, and you can link Workspace accounts to those Zero Touch accounts. So it gives you the ability to sort of like unlink accounts if needed and things like that. So suppose when it comes to the Zero Touch with Android, it's a bit like you can sort of like unenroll and manage Chromebook. You can now sort of like unenroll an Android device. This next one is to do with if you've got any third-party sort of enterprise mobility management providers. So if you have more than one, so what it allows you to do is it gives you flexibility. If you've got these third-party enterprise mobility management apps, then you can generate tokens and do it on an organizational unit basis. So as it says there, you can have one EMM for senior leadership team and then a completely different one for, say, your premises staff or your teaching assistants or whatever. And it just allows you to very easily, using the classic admin console, do it by the OU. This is a very quick difference to the admin console. So basically, they've rejigged the admin left-hand side of the admin console, where you can actually you can find the Chrome browser and all of your settings for your managed browsers, your tokens and things like that, and your apps and extensions a lot faster. So you don't have as many clicks basically to get to your Chrome browser. This one is to do with marketplace apps. Now, we always recommend that you run marketplace apps because they're third party, and obviously you need to do them on a DPIA basis. We always recommend that you run that on a whitelist basis so that you allow users only to install third-party apps that you as an administrator have actually done due diligence on. This is a little tweak to it, which allows, if you've got it on a whitelist, but you have your own internal apps within your domain, then you can bypass that whitelist and allow any user to install any internal app, even if it's not on the allow list. So that's quite useful if you have your own internal apps. This one is to do with contacts delegation. This is completely different to email delegation. This is contacts delegation. So if you've got users within your organization who have a delegated person who's allowed to access your contact details, you must review it and then reapprove it, the existing delegates, by the 12th of this month, or they lose their delegated status. Again, it's not to do with Gmail delegated inboxes. This is purely to do with contacts. This next one, Google Chrome, along with many other browsers, are now cracking down on third-party cookies within the browser. So they're basically moving away from third-party cookies in order to provide better privacy, as it says there, better security and better usability. So that this is to do with sort of like within Google Drive. Obviously, it tells you just to use the Google Doc publishing URL, but then if you've got other third parties, so other files that you want to open within Drive, then you need to actually get the overflow menu, select the embed item, and it'll give you an iframe HTML tag in order to do that, which then bypasses those third-party cookie requirements. This one, again, is to do with space management. I mean, we've covered space management, which is it came out a couple of months ago now, I think, where you can have an overview within your domain as to how many chat spaces you've got. And I know that our friend Dave Leonard was very excited to see this, and then very shocked to see how many actual chat spaces he had going on within his domain. So this is just allows you to bulk delete them, which I think is something that Dave had to go and do because there were an awful lot of chat spaces that were, should we say, inappropriate that students had set up. But it just gives you overall oversight. You can manage the chat spaces and you can manage the space privileges as well within that chat space. This one is to do with context-aware access policies, if you have those set in place. So this is sort of like, as you can see there, sort of like you can set policies for contact-aware access that say they're only allowed to use it from this IP, they're only allowed to use it from the UK, they're only allowed to use it from within the physical IP confines of the college, for example. But this is just an additional thing for an administrator, is that once you've set your context-aware access policies, you can now turn on monitor mode. So you can actually see how that context-aware access policy is actually impacting people over time. So if you run into a problem, you'd be able to sort of like very quickly figure out using the monitor mode, once you've got it turned on, what is going on. Again, that's standard and plus only. This one is to do with if you've got external directory sync into Google Workspace. This is basically just an update that allows you to map and sync the attributes. So you can say, if you've got external attributes on one side, you can map it to specific attributes within your Google Workspace directory. But obviously, that's very dependent on how up-to-date your Google Workspace directory is. So, for example, within your Google Workspace directory, have you got people labeled with their job title? Have you got them labeled with their department that they're in? That sort of thing. But this is to do with the sync more than anything else. This one has been a pain over the last few months in that loads of colleges and schools were running into problems where people used to have the ability to sort of embed YouTube into Google Classroom, and then all of a sudden it stopped working. And people would have to sort of like, instead of embedding the YouTube into Classroom, they would have to copy and paste the link into Google Classroom. This was to do with a change that Google made and didn't tell anyone about, where they wanted to move everything across to YouTubeeducation.com. Now, YouTubeeducation.com, that's still not up and running. So for now, what they're allowing people to do is that they're now allowing the changes to the YouTube player to allow them to be embedded in the Workspace for Education services, simply because they haven't got the YouTube Education quite ready yet. So it's available at the minute for Classroom, and it should be available by now for Slides, Forms, and Sites. The caveat to that is that you as an administrator will need to put the youtube.com on your allow list. So put it on your whitelist. This one is to do with a change in Google Meet. So this is the Google Meet hardware more than anything else. So it's showing that there is a new sort of like Def 27, but there's also an Acerchrome base, which is used for meetings, and the new functionality in that is automatically, Chris would like that since he's having an electrical problem. It will automatically adjust the lighting within your meet. These ones we've covered extensively in previous sessions. These are all to do with Duet AI. I'm sure Chris can give us more information about Duet AI. It's something that schools and colleges that wanted to roll out the Bard, Google Bard, found that it wasn't quite rolling out the way they wanted it to be, and that's because Google have created the Duet AI, which is completely separate to Bard, but which is specifically an education AI. It's very powerful. It is a paid-for edition, obviously. So it allows you to sort of like write emails, docs, and things like that using artificial intelligence, create custom backgrounds within meetings. So you can go into a meet, go into background, launch up Duet AI if you've got a license assigned for it, and say, create me a background of Lake Como in Italy. And it will. Or create me a background of a cafe at the Grand Canyon, and it will just generate your background image for you. So very, very powerful. But again, Chris can talk to you about the cost of Duet AI. The one thing about Duet AI is it works similarly to teaching and learning in that you could have just simply one license if you wanted to, and then let several people, move the license about. So let several people test that license to see, what Duet AI is all about, because it's new to everyone. So it's a good idea to sort of like maybe get one license if you're interested in AI, and then move it about departments and things like that, so that everyone has a chance to have a play with it.
Yeah, I think just chipping in there. Oh, we reached the end there, pretty much. Just on the Duet AI side of things, what many schools and colleges are doing at the moment is they are actually, there wasn't a trial available, unfortunately, for Duet AI, which I think is a bit of a mistake on the education side of things. But what many schools and colleges are doing is they are just taking a license on a rolling monthly contract, which is sort of £30 and 24p, I think, if memory serves me right. And as James says, you can move that license around from user to user. So if you want to test it out, almost see it as a £30 trial. No long commitment, obviously, so that's a rolling contract. If you think it's the right thing for you, then you can just let that license continue to run and add to them as you see fit. But that's probably the easiest and cheapest way to, get into Duet AI and see if it's the right fit for your organization. And again, happy to send any quotes or details across on Duet AI following on from this call.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants a sort of like demonstration of what Duet AI does, I haven't had a chance to play with it extensively myself, but I know our training manager, Paul, has. So he'd be more than happy to, if anyone wants to have a look to see the capabilities of it. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to give you a demonstration of it, because we currently on our demonstration domain have quite a few Duet AI licenses so that people can have a play about.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask people today, were there any comments, first of all, about any of those updates, or anyone wanting any further clarification?
Could I ask something about the chat? I think it came out a couple of weeks ago about the functionality of having an organizational-wide chat group, which is great. We tried to set this up. I've been trying to set it up with groups that we have within Google. Not having much success. Been on to Google support. They constantly escalating me between the levels within Google, and I'm getting nowhere. So just wondering if anybody else has done that from a group perspective, rather than adding individual users to a chat.
No.
Okay.
Any chat that I've always set up has always been just individual users, but I appreciate from the size of your establishment, Stuart, that would take quite a long time.
Yeah, you're talking about 800 staff really. So
yeah.
And I just wanted to, add a group in, and obviously the leavers and the new staff would be added to the group, and it'd be dynamic and it would just work. But doesn't seem to be the case at all.
If that's something that I can raise a ticket for you with, Stuart.
Well, I've got to check it open with Google.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Is it worth maybe sharing the details with James Stewart?
Yeah,
just
can do.
See if we can escalate it as well for you.
Yeah.
Just to kind of say, don't seem to be getting the answers back on this one.
Yeah.
Any chance we can try and move it forward? We may have somebody we can refer it to. It's worth a couple of people having a go at it, I guess. Is it you just not getting the right answers, or is it just kind of stalling? Or
I haven't had a really good experience with Google support since September. We've got that issue. It seems to be goes to people, they take a while to respond, and then it gets said, we escalate it to the next level. And that seems to be the common thing weekly. We've also got an issue with desperately trying to set up 2FE for learners, but it doesn't work on a Chromebook. It gives you the reminder. So if we set up 2FE, for instance, to be enforced next week, so learner would log into a Chromebook, it would pop up with a message saying, don't get locked out, you need to do this. That would display on the screen for 5 seconds, and then it would disappear and say, you haven't got an access token, you can't log in. And in a loop, they can't log in on a Chromebook. And that has been going on since September, first week of September, which is ridiculous. So anyway, so those are my gripes about Google support.
With the Google support, Stuart, having had extensive experience of Google support, it all depends, because they're a global company, it all depends on which work queue it falls into. For example, you might start off with a Google support ticket with the support team in America, and then the next response you might get back is from the support team in Vietnam. And you can be pinged all over the world, and that sometimes doesn't help.
No,
because teams don't talk to one another. No. It's all just based on those support tickets, and I've got not to put down Google. It's just the way they are. It's just a global company, but it's all sort of like pinged from one department to another department to another department, depending on who's open at what time of the night or what time of the day. So, but if you want to share the ticket details with me, Stuart, then we can sort of escalate that up to someone in the EMEA team here in the UK, and see if we can get you an answer for that.
Okay. And going back to your original question, do you have any comments about your slides? Yes. We use GAD's tool at the moment to sync our users.
Yeah.
Using directory sync within the application be any better or worse? Have you had an experience of people moving from one to the other?
You're using Google Active Directory Sync.
We're pulling it from LDAP, we are, but not Active Directory. So
right, okay. So all that slide was basically saying it's matching up the attributes between external and internal. And like I said, it's very probably your external is probably far more populated than your Google Workspace directory. That's been my experience in the past, is that not a lot of people populate a lot within the Google directory, Workspace directory, but they have far more information within the external directory. So it's just sort of like, as long as you can like match up the fields.
Yeah.
It just
but would you have to sync your users using that tool to do that? I guess you would to make that link.
Yeah.
So you got to originally sync them using that tool.
Yeah.
I think there is facilities within the GAD tool, but it's not as graphical as the one in the console. And the other comment I had was the non-remote with context-aware policy is great. Just about to do that, so that functionality would be great to test it out first.
Yeah, again, it's a data security thing, Stuart, isn't it? Context-aware access. It's kind of like who's accessing what app and where they're accessing it, and how are you restricting the access? Do you really want them accessing? If they go abroad, do you really want them accessing school and college data outside the UK?
Yeah.
Chances are no. unless there's a very good reason for it. But I think the fact that they've put in the monitoring functionality of that is very useful.
Yeah, definitely.
You can see how it can impact your users. The other thing I was going to ask you all this afternoon is how many of you are actually making use of Chrome OS Flex? Is everyone aware about Chrome OS Flex?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much are you using it?
Not so much in college.
Yeah.
But at home, definitely. I've got like 3 or 4 old laptops where it's just brought them back to life. Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think from the Chrome OS Flex point of view, having been in a role like yours and previously, if you may find yourself with a cupboard full of old Windows i3 laptops that have got 4 gigs of RAM and can't really run the latest version of Windows, or running really slow with all of the updates. And just by 20 minutes, you can flash it. I would say just try one device. It takes 20 minutes, turns it into a Chrome device. So and Chrome OS Flex for education is free, completely free. So if you've got, it works on Windows machines, it works on Macs. So typically the Mac OS and the Windows OS, as they update them, they become bloated, and pretty soon the actual hardware, which is perfectly good hardware, can't cope with it. So by flashing them to Chrome OS Flex, what that allows you to do is have all the cloud capabilities. It's a much smaller operating system, and it will run that i3 or i5 processor like a superpowered Chromebook, basically. The only thing that you want to say that the Chrome OS Flex is fantastic, and it's free. The only caveat to that within a school or within a college is, if you want to manage them the same way that you manage, say, a Chromebook, then you will need a Chrome Education Upgrade license. Yeah. So if you've got spare Chrome Education Upgrade licenses within your domain, you can apply them to the Chrome OS Flex devices. But if you've only got enough Chrome OS Flex licenses for the number of Chromebooks, for example, that you've got, and you decide to flash 30 old MacBooks, then you will need an additional 30 to manage them the same way that you manage your Chromebooks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just on that as well with the licenses. Yeah, of course we sell those. Hey, but I got to get me sales spiel in. Yeah, £26. But I mean, if you think about it, you do 10 of those devices for 260 quid. You're probably at the cost of an average one Chromebook or a pretty poor Windows laptop for that. So the other good thing about those licenses as well, if you're using it as a stopgap, you can move those licenses from Chrome OS devices onto new Chromebooks, providing that's done within the first 12 months. So if you've got we've got some new stock coming in, I don't know, March or April, whenever your year starts, but you've got a bit of a gap in between, those licenses wouldn't just be on those devices and then, gone. If you wanted to then update those to brand new Chromebooks, you can do that within the first 12 months as well. So win-win, I would say, win-win.
Can I ask a question around, when you obviously install the Chrome OS Flex, you upgrade the license, it appears in your Google admin, then I'm assuming it gets the updates that Chrome gets. So from a Cyber Essentials perspective, really.
Yeah. So the Chrome OS Flex, because you've got on a managed basis, obviously you will have your settings within the admin console for how you. I mean, certainly colleges and some schools restrict the update to a certain version. I've always said, give me the latest update, and the reason that they've said, the reason that some people restrict it to a certain version, so I only want Chrome OS 110, is in case the next version, Chrome OS 111, has a bug in it. In all of the time when I say, just give me the latest update, I've never once come across a bug.
Okay, because we usually go by the auto update expiration date in Google admin for when devices are going end of life.
So you will get those updates to those Chrome OS Flex devices, the same that you would with Chrome OS.
Yeah, just a quick history lesson here, Stuart. I know you like a bit of this, so here we go. Yeah, it used to be a third-party application, Neverware, were the people who sort of introduced this. A bit like the Remington shavers. I liked it so much I bought the company. Same kind of thing here. Google loved it so much that they actually bought Neverware, and it came into the Google stable. So that version of Chrome OS that you're getting on Flex is the bang up-to-date version, and it updates at the same time any brand new Chromebook would as well. There used to be a little bit of a delay between the Neverware updates back in the day. There aren't now. It's exactly the same operating system, bang up to date, and it updates at exactly the same time as your standard brand new Chromebook off the shelf would. So perfectly safe. And
It's owned by Chrome, by Google.
Yeah.
So will it go end of life like the Chromebooks do now?
They do, yeah. I can't remember whether it was it 8 or 12 years. I'd need to double check that of updates for a Chrome OS device, and I think
10 years.
10 is it now? Yeah, somewhere in between.
It used to be 8, and they've recently upgraded it to 10 years.
So that gets the same level of support as a brand new Chromebook would. And I would have thought, Stuart, to be honest, in 10 years' time, you're probably unlikely to be using that device. But if it's managed to survive, then yeah, those updates will be good for a full decade, which is great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Right, so we've finished halfway through, unless anyone's got any other points they want to raise. Pete, Lee, anything? No?
No, good, thanks.
Yeah,
Good.
fantastic.
Excellent. Okay, I'll stop the recording. As per norm, slide decks and this video will be sent out around about Thursday, I think, this week. It's usually the drill. And yeah, thanks everybody for coming along, and hopefully we'll.
I think, before we stop recording, Chris, I think also that wasn't there a promotion that Google were running where they would actually ship out USB drives, because you need a USB drive to install the Chrome Flex.
Yeah, that's true. We've got those. Comes in a little box. You might like it, Pete. It might be a Google box. You never know. Could be a chance to get some free. Nice. But yeah. Little box with the stick in there. Anybody who's interested in that, again, ping me a line across, and we can get you one of those. Get you one of those shipped out. No problem at all.
Just send it.
Pete's going to get one. Pete, I'll just put you on the list because I know what you like.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I'll look out that beanie as well, Pete. I'll see if I can get that to you before the winter comes.
Good luck, because I got no air there. It'll be right. Good.
I love it. Fantastic.
Right. Brilliant. You can stop recording now, Chris.
Will do. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. Good to see you all.
Yeah, good to see you too, Lee.
It's always good to see me, Lee.
It is, mate.
It's always after stuff, though. That's the problem, isn't it? It's always after stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
we're used to it by now, don't worry.